everyone to the third chapter, I guess the third chapter, we're going to call them chapters, of where myself, Kirk Buchner, and my partner here, Vinny Lospinuso, we're telling you about some of the people who have been nominated for the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Some names you know, most of them you don't. And the reason why we're doing this is because when they announced their giant list of nominees, they're not exactly telling you that much about them and why they're here and how they got here, especially in the non-player section. Well, they don't really tell a whole bunch, period, but really the non-modern era. And this is our third part, so I'm pretty excited to do that. And we're going to start off with somebody who most of you should know. Most of you would be afraid to sort of meet in a dark alley. I know I would. We're going to start off with Bill Laimbeer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is like one of the first guys that, because I didn't get into basketball until I was a teenager. Maybe that's just sort of like a Canada thing, because there wasn't, when I was a kid, there were no Toronto Raptors. There was no team in Buffalo. It wasn't on TV all that much, truth be told. But I knew who the hell Bill Laimbeer was.
Well, not only that, the Pistons were the closest team to you, I'm assuming, right?
Well, you're right, but I mean, in terms of like local television, growing up in Toronto, we would get the Buffalo feeds of pretty much everything. So like when I'm growing up, like just for like NFL stuff, for example, it's pretty much whatever the Buffalo then stations would show. And on a good day, you might be able to get something in Pittsburgh.
Well, I'm guessing the Buffalo Braves left by the time you really started getting into sports, I
The
imagine,
Buffalo
right?
Braves are long gone by then. I never even heard of them until like I think they left in the late 70s, and I was just a little kid.
Yeah, late
So
70s around
yeah,
there.
yeah. So at that point, I wasn't that much aware of them at all. But Bill Laimbeer was certainly an icon, and somebody when I'm looking at him is a very interesting case for the Hall. He's got the All-Stars, 4 All-Stars, two-time champion, rebounding title, dirty player.
Those same exact people that'll say he was dirty are the same ones that will call anyone that plays today soft. And yeah, so I think, yes, especially for the time he was dirty. However, he was one of the best defensive players in the NBA. He was a big part of those bad boys teams with Dumars, Thomas, and Rodman winning those back-to-back titles. He was not part of any all defensive teams. However, I'm not going to hold that against him too much because I still think he was very integral to those teams. Now, having said that, if you just looked at his just playing career alone, I'd probably say no. But there's way more to his story than solely his playing career. Those that don't know, he was also a coach in the WNBA for 20 years. 20 years he was a coach for them. And it was the Shock in particular. And he led them to a dynasty. They won championships in 03, 06, and 08. Was coach the year in 03 and 15. And you know, he was just before Becky Hammon became the head coach of the Las Vegas Aces, he took them to the conference finals. Like even before all that, all except for like I think like 5 seasons, his teams missed the playoffs. His team missed the playoffs in just 5 seasons.
Mm-hmm. But to
But
be fair, though, they are not looking at his coaching career for this nomination.
not entirely.
No, but they're not supposed to. I mean, because
Wink,
you
wink,
can get
and a
in as a
nod.
player and a coach, Wilkins, Lenny. So
Yes.
I would imagine that's not what they're looking for. I think one thing where I'll sort of, I don't want to say disagree, but or just sort of like add to, for a big guy back then, he was a bit of a prototype for seeing large men shoot outside.
Yes, he was. He was.
He had a very good shot. I was watching a few interviews to prep for this, where you have Isaiah Thomas saying, "Bottom line, we're not winning those 2 titles without Bill."
Mhm.
But again, Bill was predominantly disliked. I mean, think Draymond Green to a lot of people now is the best modern equivalent, not so much in style of play, but in terms of this guy's a dirty player, da 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 da, and
Yeah.
part of a
And
dynasty.
mhm. Yeah, similarly, the Pistons went to 3 straight finals, winning the latter 2.
Mm-hmm.
But Bill All-Stars were actually before those
Yeah.
finals appearances.
Mhm.
He was not an all-star in those 3 years they went to the finals. Of course, the Lakers and the Blazers, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So I mean, even though they don't say outright that it's about the coach, just solely player, when I look at a case like Bill Laimbeer, he's someone that's bolstered because of his coaching prowess. I mean, just alone by player, I probably would say probably not, but I think if you were to combine the two into one, which I do for some instances, like
Mhm.
a Michael Cooper, for instance, then I say absolutely. And I think he finished like what top three all time in terms of wins for the WNBA. So yeah, I think if you combine everything together, he's very deserved.
You might have a better shot getting in that women's section.
Well, either way, I think men or women, when you're in the Hall of Fame,
No, but I
you're in
mean,
the
like,
Hall of
and I'm not for those. Just to be clear, you can get into the through the women's channel if you were a male coach in the WNBA. So no, because
Yes, I'm aware.
people might be hearing that and thinking, "What the hell is Kirk talking about?" But
Yeah, in case you're curious, guys, no, Bill does not. I'm not going to say it. Bill did not. Nothing. I'm not going to say it.
you'll have to tell me after because now I'm very curious where you might be going with that. But yeah, Bill Laimbeer. So again, same question I always ask. What's your want out of 10, and what are your chances out of 10?
Well, this is also his first year on the first ever time being on the ballot, so I'm happy he's finally here. Like I mentioned for Penny Hardaway last time.
Mhm.
However, I just think because Cooper's there longer, you've had Marquise Johnson there a bit longer, and now you have Vince Carter. I can't really see him making it this year, but I could definitely see him down the road. In terms of want, I haven't really thought too much about his case until like the last like several months because it's like, hey, quality career, maybe there's something there. I'm happy he's there, but I'd say in terms of maybe like there's an 8, maybe a 7, like around there. I'd like to see him, but I'm not going to go overly emotional crazy for like some other names.
Okay. All right. So our second person is someone who he fell out of my radar. And that's a crime on my part, I'll admit. Gene Shue.
Kirk. Oh man.
Well, I'm a big enough man to admit when I'm wrong on some things. Gene Shue is somebody I should have had ranked. I don't. That will probably be rectified when I do this again. You and I are gonna like put our heads together, and there's some older players that I may have whiffed on, and this is one of them for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
Leroy Edwards is the other one.
well, yes, you're kicking a man when he's down, Vin.
Well, I gotta find a way to plug Leroy Edwards somehow.
I know. But we got this guy is fascinating to me. Just the different eras. Third overall pick after a pretty good career in Maryland, but
Mhm.
just to show what kind of era it was. So like 6 games into this his first rookie year. I don't know when he said that to management. Yeah, you guys shortchanged me on my check by $10, and a couple weeks later he was traded to the Knicks.
Yeah, that's actually how it happened.
It's
Hey, the
crazy.
50s were a wild time, man. They just were.
Yeah, it's
But yeah. Mhm.
like $10 isn't even something is like how much do they make it rain at the strip club now? But like,
No comments.
yeah, no, well, I don't have any other comment. I've never seen it. I just read about it.
Hmm.
But his best days were with the Pistons. 5 straight All Stars, first team player, second team player, and a solid
Mhm.
coach later on.
Yeah, really solid coach. He led a couple teams to a finals. Took the Bullets to the finals, which, in case you're curious, that's currently the Wizards, not the original Bullets. They're a separate team. And then the Sixers of the 76 took them to a finals. He was a coach of the year twice in 69 and 82. The 82 was when he was with the Bullets, now the Washington Bullets, and All-Star game head coach twice. You look at the finals that he was in. The one that he was with the Bullets, well, the Baltimore Bullets at that point, they lost the Bucks in the finals. And then when he was finals, He took him to I think they were against the Blazers, if I'm not mistaken. Just check it. Yes, it was against the Blazers. They lost in 6 games. Afterwards, he got fired by the Sixers despite leading to the finals. And then afterwards, when he was with the Clippers and the Bulls again, and then the Clippers, the Bulls, and then the Clippers yet again. He only had a few other playoff appearances, so that definitely doesn't help him. However, I will say that afterwards, he was the manager of, I think he was like the manager of the Sixers for a bit. Then afterwards, he left. He was also a broadcaster for ESPN in their Continental Basketball Association games.
Oh man,
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. Well, not him, but I remember that old league. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
stinking.
like
Yeah,
he's changed a lot for the game. Like, the spin move,
yeah.
that was him. He created that.
Okay. Well,
He
I mean,
invented the spin move.
anyone who's five-time All-Star in 5 years in a row, well, obviously you're doing pretty good. I imagine what's keeping him out is he doesn't have a ring, or
Yes.
it's sort of like allowed him to fall through the cracks. By me
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I mean, during the time he was viewed as one of the best coaches the NBA ever had, because oftentimes, like George McGinnis credited him, Bill Walton credited him, Spencer Haywood credited him. They credited Gene Shue for helping bolster up their games when they had bad slumps. And he was also someone who he was like the only coach at the time that wanted to emphasize the 3-point shot. The 3-point shot was brand new. A lot of guys didn't like it. However, he was the guy that said, "Hey, I like this. Let's use it." Sure, yeah, let's do the 3-point shot. So, hey, not bad, not bad at all. And I think just in terms of his entire body of work as a player and as a coach in general, Bleacher Report also listed him as one of the very best people not in the Hall of Fame. I don't understand why this guy isn't in. He reminds me a lot of Larry Costello, who was inducted a few years ago. For those that don't know, he was a 6-time All-Star that also was a coach and won a championship for the Bucks, and he should have been in long ago. Shue kind of reminds me a little bit like that, except the difference is that he never won a championship, but he also has an extra All-NBA team member, but he also has one less All-Star. Do I say yes? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see Gene Shue. And I think Gene Shue, in terms of this contributor list, absolutely, he's very, very deserving. And in terms of want, probably like 9 or 10. It's
He's
pretty
got.
high.
But do you think he should
Uh,
be in as a player or a coach or both?
yes, everything. Contributor. The same thing with Larry Costello. Like
I already knew the
Costello was
answer
listed as
before
a
I,
contributor.
or if that sentence escaped my mouth. I already knew what your answer was going to be.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
contributor. Like same with Costello. Like everything, he truly was a contributor for the game, not only from a playing or coaching perspective, but in terms of philosophy of how people watch it, how people comment it. He was a changer of the concept of basketball itself. And I don't understand why a guy that was so significant like he was is not in yet.
All right. So our international one that we're going to be talking about today, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this right. Probably not. Ettore Messina.
Ettore Messina? Yeah, you said it right.
Okay, that's good. That'd be my dogs in the background. They were arguing about also how to pronounce.
It's okay. It's Tori.
Sorry about that. Just had to stop sort of an argument between Jasper and Winnie. Unfortunately, sometimes Winnie causes mischief. Don't you? Yep. Anywho, so yeah, we're looking at someone who is a legend. I don't think I'm using that word incorrectly in the EuroLeague. I mean, this is a lot of wins. He was already named by the EuroLeague as one of the top 50 contributors of all time.
Yeah.
4 Euro titles with 2 different teams: Bologna in the Italian league and CSKA in the
Mm-hmm.
Russian league. 6 Russian titles, 6 Italian titles. Still coaching. So
Yep.
he's still adding to his resume with Milan. He actually did have a few stints in the NBA as a consultant. I think what the biggest run was with the Spurs. I
Yes, that's
don't think
true.
he was there when they won their last title. I could be mistaken on that.
I'm not sure about that either.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I was trying to figure out if he was or was not. I think he might have came in after, but he's like obviously one of those guys because the Spurs certainly, especially Popovich, he's someone who's going to think outside the box
Yes.
and bring in other people for different ideas. I mean, like this is a great candidate, but when they're only inducting one international,
It's a shame. It
it's
really is, but
hard, right?
uh
I mean, like, what more do you want from somebody? He's won everywhere he went. Uh, he's got the titles, he's got the championships, he's got the pedigree. The only thing he may not have, and I think, and I could be mistaken on this, I don't quite know what the international team look for, but I don't believe that he ever coached Italy or Russia or anywhere. Like for a nation is what I'm trying to say.
he did coach for Italy for Eurobasket.
For Team Italy, okay, did he? Okay,
Yeah, he
so
did.
did he win? I didn't
He
see.
won the silver medal, and he
One
also
silver.
was
Okay.
part. He also won gold for the Mediterranean Games in '93.
I never heard of that. What's the Mediterranean Games? I guess it's just
Mediterranean Games are exactly what you think they are. They are games that were played of basketball
Mhm.
that they were just regular, but since then it's just been the 3-on-3 between the around the Mediterranean. So I'm talking about like Egypt, Yugoslavia for the time, Turkey,
Hmm.
uh, Greece, so on and so forth.
What, do they still have that? It's like we used to, I remember it was a big deal in Canada when they had the Commonwealth Games. I don't even think they still
I
do
know
that.
I know they don't do regular basketball 5-on-5. They do 3-on-3s now,
And three?
but in its concept, it's still around, but it's changed a lot.
Mhm. Okay. So because he's still active, that might hurt him, you think, or no?
I mean, it didn't hurt Popovich.
He's not on the same level as Popovich.
Oh, I'm not saying he is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say compared to like one guy that's not even listed for whatever reason. Like he's only one of he's tied for second for the amount of championships he won in the EuroLeague as a head coach. I think the only one that won more, I'm looking at, I'm trying to say the name correctly right here on my laptop, is Zetko Obradovic, who's won 9 championships as a head coach. And I don't know why he's not on this list, but
Oh, so he's
don't
not in it
worry.
either. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
he's not even in yet, but we do have the other guys that did win. We have what do I say? He's shared with Borzar Malkojovic. I hope I'm saying that right. Boza is his nickname. He's on yet, but the two that have 4 championships are Alexander Gomelski, who was part of the USSR, who coached the USSR, and Pedro Ferrandes, who coached Real Madrid. So you have two. The two are still waiting, and the big boy is still waiting.
mhm.
So
So
yeah,
same
I
question.
think
What's your
I
wanting prediction?
well, in terms of just international guys, there's so many I want, and I just hate the fact that there's only one. But it is what it is for now, at least. A wink, wink. Um, Man, it's tough for like players. It's tough for coaches, and it's even tougher for other non-players of there. But I think yeah, his resume is like, duh, induct me. I'm so obvious. I'm still with you. I mean, he's considered one of the greatest coaches in Europe's history. He's won so many titles in Italy, Russia, just everywhere. Like this guy is like so obvious, but I don't know. I feel like he might get looked over for like another few years, and he's still coaching. So I'm not gonna go out of my way to really push for him while he's still active. But he's very deserving.
Mhm.
I'm not denying that.
Okay. So we have one final name, and this one I think you're going to need to convince me on this one. As I was doing my deep dive and all that, I just don't see him as a Hall of Fame inductee, especially considering who we've got against him. It's Fred Schauss. Again, that's how I have it correctly.
You said it right.
Did I? Okay, yay. Decent player in his own right, playing for Fort Wayne and New York, but he's here as a coach. Pretty historically speaking, a forgotten cog in the Lakers run.
Very forgotten.
Maybe forgotten because they didn't win while he was there. I mean, he did get a ring as an executive in '72, but he was the
You know,
first coach
GM.
when they moved. GM, sorry about that. Oh, well, GM, okay. Well, I did say executive. Uh, but he was their first coach for like an 8-year period. Did have a winning record, but no titles.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a
what am I
shame
missing?
too, because Schauss was big in college too as a coach
For
for
West
West
Virginia?
Virginia.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, West
NIT
Virginia. And
title.
then after his time with the Lakers, he went to go coach in Purdue.
Mhm. Overall, though, I mean, it's certainly a great resume. It reminds me when we were talking about Babcock last time, but this feels more like a deep cut, you know, when you're
Not for me.
well compared to who he's against.
Compared to who he's against, yes, but I think
That's where I'm going with that.
but how many coaches could say they've gone to 4 championships? I understand he never didn't win any of them, but he took the Celtics to 7 2 times, and like you look at the guys like Don Nelson, legendary coach,
Mhm.
never went to a championship appearances. You have let's say Doc Rivers only went to 2 finals. You have Jack Ramsey, I think he only went to 1 or maybe 2. Like there's legendary coaches that only went to like 1 or 2 finals in their entire coaching career. Some went to none. But Fred Schauss went to 4 of them. And yes, I understand they had great players in Elgin Baylor and Jerry West and whatnot. But that was still a coach that took a team to the finals 4 times in 4 and 5 years, and was also the person who rebuilt the team as a GM and won a title in 1972. Like, as an entire resume, it sounds pretty deserving. And if you were to include the All-Star Game head coach nod, he's tied with Casey Jones, who's in the Hall of Fame as a player. You should be in as a coach too, with third most all time. The only 2 more are Pat Riley and Red Auerbach. That sounds pretty deserving if you factor in everything I just
Uh,
said.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, he just doesn't pop right out, but I wouldn't be upset if he got in either, if that makes
Well,
sense.
to be fair, a lot of the names I really like don't really pop out to a lot of people.
That's very true. I can't
Yes, it
disagree
is.
with that. Yeah,
Mhm.
what agrees, right? Yes.
Right.
All right. All right. So that concludes this chapter. We're going to be doing a few more. Look for them shortly. Then, as always, thank you so much.
Things anytime.
All right. Wherever you are, wherever you may be, make it a great day because it's not coming again. Later, everyone.
Yeah.